7 of the Made by Mumino podcast. My name is Catherine and I'm coming to you today from Mönchengladbach. It's kind of between Dusseldorf and the Dutch border over on the western side of Germany. And it's a rather grey and overcast day today, but I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are today. Let me know where you are down in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Grab yourself something to drink. I've got coconut water. Always looks very suspicious, I think, but it tastes yummy. My partner always buys it for me when he wants to buy me a treat, but he doesn't want to buy me chocolate because he knows he'll get in trouble for buying me chocolate. So I've got coconut water. Happy days. Yes, grab a beverage, grab your knitting, and today I've got a few test knits to show you and a couple of finished objects and some bits and pieces I'm working on, and also some upcoming test knits that I'm working on too. So yeah, well, let's get started with what I'm wearing today. So this is Old Faithful. This is my no frills cardigan from Petite Knit. I won't show it to you now because you're going to see some footage of me wearing it in a minute when I show you one of my finished objects. But I love this cardigan. I made it years ago now, and it's Woolyknit in Autumn Glow, I think. It's Woolyknit 100% British wool combs, yeah, PAL double in Autumn Glow colourway. I made it years ago. It could do with a debubble. But I love it. It's my kind of between the seasons jacket, I suppose. I wear it constantly. I even take it on sort of plane journeys and long train journeys and things, and I roll it up and use it as a pillow. It's just a fantastic cardigan. I really should make another one. I've got a few combs of Woolyknit lurking about the place, so I might make myself another one at some point. I was very new back to knitting again when I made this. I don't know if you can see, there's a change in the stitch definition because I realised after knitting the yoke that I was twisting all of my stitches. I think a lot of people when they start knitting or they come back to knitting or whatever do that. But yeah, I noticed that I was twisting my stitches, and I only noticed because it was the first time I'd knitted something flat. So when I was going back to do the purl stitches on the reverse side and the inside, I was having to kind of, it was really hard work to pick up the stitches in order to purl them. And I spoke to my mum about it, and she was like, Catherine, show me how you're knitting. So yeah, I was twisting all of my stitches. So the yoke has got a kind of more of a defined stitch pattern than the rest of it, which is just basic stockinette. I don't mind at all. It kind of looks like it could be a design detail, but also I'm kind of proud of the fact that it's still a wearable garment. It has a mistake in it. I know it's there. Other knitters might notice it, but I don't really mind. It's still a really comfortable, nice thing to wear. And yeah, not worth reknitting, definitely not worth reknitting. But I think I would probably make another one of these at some point in a different colour, because yes, this one gets a bit of a battering, but I love wearing it. So there we go. I will link to everything I talk about below, where appropriate, my Ravelry pages. I'm never sure what to do about linking for test knits that I'm doing because the pattern isn't released yet. But you can look at my project page, and you can look at the designer's project page as well. Well, not their project page, their Ravelry page or whatever. So yeah, so I've linked to my project pages where I've started the project below, and I've also linked where possible to the designer's Instagram or to their Ravelry. So just have a look down below. If I talk about anything that I haven't linked below, please do let me know, and I will be more than happy to tell you about whatever I've forgotten. So yeah, that is what I'm wearing. And if you're interested, this is just a short sleeve linen dress that I got from Sea Salt, which is a British clothing company, and they do some just nice basic dresses and things like that that I really enjoy wearing during the summer. This one's made of linen. Excuse me. This one's made of linen and it's got nice big pockets, so keeps me happy. It's a thing, isn't it? In the summer, where do you put your phone and things like that when you're walking around? I like to wear a backpack when I'm traveling about the place, and you can't kind of just reach into a backpack, so I need things with pockets so that I can keep my headphones and my phone handy to me while I'm walking around. So yes, that was a very rambling start, but this is what I'm wearing. Finished objects. I'm so proud of this. I'm so happy with this, but also apologetic before I even show it to you. So I've just finished a test knit for the lovely JC at Bluebird Pine. This is the second test knit I've done for her, and I hope won't be the last. She designs really good classic wardrobe staples, things that you can imagine yourself knitting again and again, things that I can imagine myself modifying and adapting to suit my style at the time. And this time, again, I apologise because I've been wearing this quite a lot since I finished making it. I have made, this is the Costa Tank, and I absolutely love this. So again, I really apologise. I'll put some footage of me wearing it up here and also some footage of it when it was freshly blocked. But today is, what day is it today? Wednesday, the 22nd. And other than today, I've worn this every day since I finished blocking it and then it was dry. So when did I take the pictures? I think it was on Saturday or Sunday. So I've been wearing this every day. This is such a nice pattern. I absolutely love it, and I will definitely be making another one. So my version is made in Drops Bell. You can see the texture of it there. Also, I do apologise if you can hear any outside noises. There's buildings, they're building a new house, block of flats, whatever, not too far away from us. And they seem to be, I don't know, putting in all the flooring today, and there's just circular saw noises going all day, so I apologise. Anyway, this is colour number 20, which I believe is called Marine Blue. It's a really nice blend, so it's 53% cotton, 33% viscose and 14% linen. So it's got a really nice drape to it, as you will see from the footage and also from me lifting it up. It comes out at around a DK weight because it's 120 meters for 50 grams. But I don't think that you can treat, just because something that's made of cotton and things says that it's a DK weight, it doesn't always act like a DK weight or a fingering weight or whatever. So I think it's even more important to swatch when you're using non-wool, for myself anyway, even more important to swatch than if you're using wool, because I do find that my gauge can be quite different to what I expect based on the weight. But anyway, I've really enjoyed working with this. It's very inexpensive. For me, it was under €2 per ball, and I needed, I think 5. How many did I need? I needed, yeah, just over 5 skeins, so 6 skeins altogether. So that's very inexpensive. That comes out at about €12 for a top, which is very reasonable. So the construction is you start at the top, knit your strap, knit part of the bit underneath each strap, join them all together, and then do the same for the back. And then you knit it down, knit down, knit down, and then you've got this lovely eyelet rose, really, really pretty, and then a little picot bind off. And JC, the designer, provided really good information about how to do this picot. First time I've done this, super easy. I think I would definitely do it again, especially for something like cotton, where you've got such nice drape. And also then you've got an I-cord all around the edge, just to keep it all together, which again would be, I would have wow, I can't talk today. This is my preferred bind off for, or edging anyway, for anything that's made of cotton or linen or anything like that. I find that cotton in particular does stretch when it's worn, like a pair of jeans. They stretch when you wear them. But that sort of I-cord edge just keeps everything together really, really nicely. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. Very happy with that indeed. I made a few modifications. So firstly, I know that I'm very short here. And to be honest, I think that's probably the most challenging aspect of knitting something like this with straps. It's more difficult to get the fit that you want because it really does depend on that armhole depth. I've knit things like this for myself before, and I know that if I stick to the pattern, it's always too long here and the armhole is just too deep for me. So I think I took off about 2.5 centimetres, so about 1 inch off the front and the back of each strap as I was knitting it. I was also off on my gauge by quite a bit. The stitch gauge was too much. I had too few stitches. So it was coming out a bit big. So I cast on fewer stitches to join the front pieces and the back pieces together. I also cast on fewer stitches at the back than I did at the front when I was joining, because I felt like I needed more fabric at the front of the garment than at the back for my chest. But yeah, I think I will probably go down a size as well for the next one. I always overestimate what size I need, always overestimate. Does anybody else do that? Is that just me? So yeah, anyway, that's gonna have a wash now, so I can wear it again next weekend. But I'm super happy with that, really happy with that. And I'll let you know how it pills and how it washes and wears. So it's looking pretty good at the moment, actually, considering how much it's been worn. It's not looking too bad. The weather was so nice last weekend. That's part of the reason why I haven't uploaded an episode for the last few weeks. It's because the weather's just been really, really nice. And we've been really busy. I've been trying to spend as much time outdoors as possible. We've had a lot of public holidays. May has a lot of public holidays in Germany. So I've just been enjoying the time off with my partner and enjoying the nice weather and outside, getting our barbecue out and everything on our balcony. Don't worry, we have a gas barbecue. We're not that horrible that we have a charcoal barbecue on our balcony. I don't think that's even allowed here, to be honest, but anyway. So yeah, we've been getting out and doing stuff outside as much as possible. So hence this getting a good wearing over the weekend. So that was the Costa Tank from Bluebird Pine by JC. And yeah, if you're looking for a summer tank, I can definitely recommend it. It's a nice knit and it's not too slow either because it's on 4mm needles. So happy days. Okay, so my next finished object was, I don't know, it was a spontaneous cast on, to be honest. So Lana magazine were doing a Lento knit along. I thought I'd get in on the action. I didn't finish it before the deadline, but I really enjoyed making it. So yeah, this is my Lento. And I made this in Drops Nord. And this is the colour Lemongrass, which is number 10. Yep, there it is, number 10. And it's got, content-wise, 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide and 25% wool. And it is 170 meters per 50 grams. So yeah, it's really soft and squishy. Really enjoyed working with this. To be honest, I ordered this because I was ordering this because I needed this, and it was quite inexpensive. I'd heard a lot of people talking about it. Never really tried drops before. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. Why not? So yeah, I had this and it's held with this. Now I cannot find the label for it anywhere. It's an indie dyed mohair, silk mohair. And so I'll put the name of it down here. I picked this up when I was over on the Dutch coast. I think I talked about it in my last episode. And it's just really pretty, really nice. And together we get this. There's a slight colour change here where I think there was a difference in the different two skeins of the indie dyed mohair, but not enough that I'm bothered about it. I did use a uni-colour green mohair for the collar and for the cuffs because I wasn't sure if I'd have enough. As you can see, I would have had enough. Never mind. Get paranoid about playing yarn chicken. So yeah, I just stuck with the indie dyed for the ribbing at the bottom. Stuck to the pattern. What size did I do? It was a size 5. And no modifications, didn't do anything differently. To be honest, it's a bit warm to wear this at the moment, so I don't think it's going to get much of a wear until the autumn. I mean, possibly, like if it's a bit of a cooler day or something in the evening and we're outside, I might wear it. But the mohair, as soon as you put mohair on anything, for me, it's a bit of a no-no for hot weather. I run quite hot. But it feels gorgeous. It feels absolutely gorgeous. It has a folded collar and it just feels so luxurious. Absolutely love it. So the Lento, if you haven't heard about it, was it was in, I can't remember which issue it was. Was it issue 7 of Lana magazine? But it's designed by Helen, and I think she's one of the co-editors of Lana magazine, if not one of the co-founders of Lana magazine. And it's just a really simple raglan. The beauty of it is though, is that it's knit on 6mm needles. So it is super fast and it's got a lovely open gauge whilst not looking like it's got an open gauge. So, I don't know if you can see there. It's just a really quick knit. Really, really nice. I will definitely make this. I think I'd even make this as a gift for somebody. It was so simple to do. I really enjoyed making it, but I have a feeling, like I said, that this is going to be tucked away for a few months until it cools down a little bit. Yeah, I mean, even today when it's cloudy and everything, it's still going to be well over 20 degrees, which isn't that warm. I mean, it can get much, much warmer than that here, but it's just, yeah, mohair, over 20 degrees. Not sure. Anyway, so my second and my final finished object, a Lento. I tried to knit one of these last year. I mentioned in a previous podcast, and I used knitting for olive pure silk, thinking it would create like this mesh effect. Didn't look good. I didn't enjoy it. And I got all the way down pretty much to the ribbing until I thought, nah, and ripped it out. Beautiful yarn, a beautiful pattern, but they weren't destined to be together. So yes, finished object number 2. So that's it for finished objects. But I also have a few things that I'm working on at the moment. So as you will know if you've been here before, I like to have a pair of socks or a little hat or something in my handbag at all times, because you never know. I was at the dentist. I've been to the dentist a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. Oh God, I hate going to the dentist so much. Anyway, my dentist was laughing at me because I was literally sitting in the chair waiting for him to do something. What, a knitting. I mean, when I'm just knitting something like this, I don't need to look at what I'm doing. But yeah, he thought it was hilarious. I find it really calming, really meditative. Like, I'm not a great flyer either, even though I do fly quite a lot. I used to fly a lot. When I lived in Asia, I used to fly a lot. I think the most flights I took in 1 year was 27 return flights, which is just ridiculous. But I don't enjoy it. It's a means to an end. Knitting makes it bearable. As with going to the dentist, knitting makes it a bearable process, a bearable experience. So anyway, my current socks that I'm working on are a gift for a friend who may or may not watch the podcast, I'm not sure. But they have enormous feet. If they are watching, they'll find that funny, because they'll probably know that I'm talking about them. So yeah, they have absolutely enormous feet. This is the largest sock blocker I have, which is a 46, 47. Don't ask me what that is in UK or US sizes. I'll put it down here. And this is too small for the sock blocker is too small for the sock, because they're actually a 48, 49. But that's fine. It's absolutely fine. So this is another Lana Grossa sock yarn, which I'm going to have to look up. Yeah, this is Meilenweit Aktion, and this is colourway 2971 for the stripe. It's just a self-striping. It's a nice reliable yarn. I use it quite a lot. If I'm going past somewhere that sells it and they've got a few balls on offer, I tend to pick them up and tuck them away for gift knits. The cuff, heel and toe, this is in John Arbon Exmoor sock, and the colourway is Hemel for this one. And again, I just have a jar of ends and I just pick out whatever I need for that particular sock, and I thought this went together quite nicely. So the first sock is finished. I was catching a train yesterday and my train was really delayed, so I actually managed to finish this sock and then wanted to cast on the next one, but didn't have a darning needle with me, so I put the stitches for the toe on a couple of safety pins so that I could cast it on. I've just kitchened the toe together so that I could show this to you today. I'm not sure I've done the best job in the world, if I'm honest, so I might, oh no, that's okay. I'm happy with that. So anyway, this is a 72 stitch cast on. I did 10 rounds for the cuff before joining the self-striping yarn. I then knit my 2-ish inch heel flap. I usually aim to pick up about 17 stitches, including one for the corner. And then however many that is, that looks like about 80, 85 rounds before going to the toe. I've got full notes on this on my Ravelry page. I suppose I started knitting using a particular pattern, which is my favourite socks, sorry, by Kristin Lehrer, linked below. But I've kind of adapted it over time, but it's the kind of basic recipe that I use. So I love doing a 2x2 rib for gift knitted socks. They're much more forgiving, and if they're slightly too big or slightly too small, they'll expand and contract more than a normal vanilla sock. I don't, however, do the rib under the foot. I don't think it's comfortable. I just do it on the top. I use Addy Crazy Trios for knitting socks. So it's super easy to divide between the underside and the top of the sock, because you've got it on 2 short flexible needles. So it's super easy. So yeah, heel flap and gusset with a double knit heel flap, and then just a normal rounded toe. I tend to reduce to about 16 stitches when I'm doing a 72 stitch cast on. I just think that it's nice in proportion. So yeah, one sock. The other one is in my handbag, and I've just done the cuff. Yes, it's surprisingly distracting to cast on something in public. I find there's a lot going on. I find it difficult to count. Also, I'm counting, I have to count out loud when I'm counting. And I'm counting in English, which tends to draw attention when you're living in a non-English speaking country. You can see people kind of looking at you at the corner of their eye, wondering what on earth it is that you're up to. Yes, it does, knitting in public does invite comments sometimes. That's fine. Do you know what? It's absolutely fine. Usually it's along the lines of, oh, my grandmother knits. Oh, I'm only 42, but yeah, thank you. But yeah, I saw a young girl, she must have been 13, something like that, a few weeks ago on the bus, crocheting a full-on blanket, and I was like, you go girl, that's awesome, that is really awesome. So yes, sock. I kind of lost my train of thought a bit. That was my first whip. My next whip is very exciting. Pause just one moment because I need to go and grab something. Okay, I'm back. So I needed to grab this because I realised that I have the project but not the yarn. So let's show you the yarn first. I'm knitting this in the Croft, which is available as a DK and an Aran, but this is the Aran weight. And this colourway is called Seafield 339. And how gorgeous is that? So my partner chose this. We were looking at all the different colours available. We were also looking at the yarn from the designer themselves for this test knit that I'm going to do. But my partner decided that this was the yarn and the colour that he wanted. So this is 100% Shetland wool. It's 166 metres per 100 gram hank. And it's just gorgeous. So when we're using Shetland wool, we know we're going to get good stitch definition and it's going to be a nice hard wearing garment. And the reason for this is that I'm making this gorgeous cardigan, which is called the Old Fashioned Sweater. And it's based on the similar kind of design, same stitch pattern as the single malt. So as you'll probably recognise, this is Maxim Sear, otherwise known as Max the Knitter, linked below if you're interested in looking at his other patterns. And yeah, he's designed and is releasing a cardigan version of the single malt sweater. And I showed this to my partner because I knew he was looking for an open fronted sweater cardigan. And he was like, yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, I cast this on after choosing the yarn with him. And this is where I've got so far. I do apologise if you can hear those saws outside. This is where we are. I'm so happy with this. Look at that stitch definition. Ah, wonderful. As you can see, it looks like a little cape, doesn't it? Just cast it off and leave it like this. It's a little cape for him. As you can see, we have a folded collar, we have a raglan, and we have a beautiful textured stitch pattern. So I'm knitting the first size for my partner. What usually happens though is it's fine here, but then I need to knit the raglan a bit further down after the increase is finished. So I've almost finished that section and I'm almost ready to split for the sleeves. So I'll try it on him later. But I'm super happy with this. Really, really happy with this. So you see these gorgeous little stitch markers. I don't know if you can see these. They're little balls of yarn. You can see these in all different colours. They were from, oh, where did I pick those up? I picked them up in a yarn shop I went to in Stockholm, Makery 14, I think it's called. But these were not from that shop directly. They're Firefly Note, that's it. I'll link them down below. And they're really gorgeous little enamel closed ring, sorry, stitch markers. Anyway, back to the pattern. So this has got a reasonably long deadline on it. I've got until the 7th of July, I think, to work on this. And once I've got the raglan sorted, it's a 4-row stitch repeat. And I think I should be able to do that pretty mindlessly. We've got a trip coming up next week. So my partner's business goes to a massive private label trade fair this time every year, and I tend to go along with him just for the fun. It's a nice few days away in Amsterdam every year, and I spend my days there mooching about, doing a bit of this and that, going to yarn shops. I do go every year to Stephen and Penelope, I have to say, and pick something up. Usually something to make a muscle bra for my partner or a nice shawl for myself. So the 2 Stephen West shawls that I've made that I've talked about in previous episodes, and they're on my Ravelry as well. So I've made the Dotted Rays shawl and the botanic shawl for my partner, and also a botanic shawl for myself. Other than the botanic shawl for my partner, I bought all of the yarn for those shawls at Stephen and Penelope as well. And yeah, so I'll probably pick up some yarn to make myself another shawl. But I really don't need any more yarn at the moment. I don't feel guilty about having a reasonable stash. I don't feel guilt at all, but I do feel overwhelmed by it. I feel like I've got more yarn that I can knit in a lifetime. Everything that I have has a plan attached to it, even if that plan changes. I'm not worried about that. It's just finding the time to do it. And I always feel like that this time of year because I knit less during the summer, just because I'm busy doing things and I'm out and about. Anyway, let's go back to this. So we have a gorgeous Meilenweit cardigan / jacket with, oh, it's just so nice. The stitch definition. Do you remember I cast on a cardigan a few weeks ago, or a month or so ago, that I then ripped back because I wasn't happy with the stitch definition? This yarn would be a fantastic contender for this. It's not the first time I've used this yarn. I also used it in a tessellated vest, I think it was called. And that was a test knit for, I'll put the details down here, but that was another test knit. And I was so happy with the yarn. I was so happy with it that I thought this would be a really good option for this test knit as well. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted on my Instagram. Oh, if you want to follow me on any other social media, I am Mumino on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook, but you can follow me on Ravelry as well, if you wish. Okay, so that's that. I'm about to start doing another test knit as well. And I'm really happy about this one because I've been trying to get on to do one of her test knits for a while. So the designer is a German designer called Lana Mortensen, and she does really very beautiful, very intricate colour work designs. And they are beautiful, they're really, really lovely. So I'm doing a test knit for this, which is the Art Nouveau sweater. So she has made a series of garments all with this motif. I believe there's a vest or certainly a cardigan in the same motif. And this is quite a small gauge. So the recommended yarn is something around fingering weight. The recommended needles are 3mm needles, so it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, I'm not going to show you yarn today for what I'm going to use for this. This has got quite a short deadline on it. It's the 20th of June. And where are we today? The 22nd of May. So I've got just under a month to do this, which is it's fine, that's manageable. However, I haven't decided exactly what yarn to use yet. So in the sample that she's done, she's used, Eleanor Mortensen has used Miss La Motte, or Mott, merino. Doesn't motte mean moth in German? It must mean something different in French. Anyway, but it's a merino linen, probably quite similar to the knitting for olive merino linen, I imagine. And it's coming out as, I think it looks like it's a heavy fingering, approaching a sport weight. But I don't particularly want to use this yarn. I want to use something that I've already got in stash. And I'm thinking about doing something with 4-ply from John Arbon, doing it in a more woolly yarn. But I'm really wondering whether or not I want that, because if I do that, it means I've got another sweater that I can only wear at particular times of year. I'm wondering whether or not to have a look through my stash and find something in a linen mix that I can do a short sleeve version in, so I can wear it as a t-shirt during the summer. I'm not sure what to do, and I need to do some swatching because I'm not convinced. I mean, look how beautiful that colour work is. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I don't know if you can see that properly. Really beautiful. So I'm not convinced I'm going to get the same level of like binding. What's the word when all of the colour work just sits nicely and it kind of blends in together, all the stitches and things. I'm not sure that I can achieve that level of colour work using something that's not got much wool in it. So I'm not sure. I know I've got some linen alpaca in my stash, which I could potentially use. I think that might just be too drapey. It might just stretch. I also have some alpaca or yak, I think, yak linen singles. I don't really want to do that. I don't think it would work in singles though, because I think it would just stretch too much. So I'm still really deliberating about my yarn choices. So I don't have any plans today. The weather is not great. We've had, again, every time I do a podcast episode, I seem to have just had really bad weather. Not sure why that is, but yes, anyway. Yeah, I don't have any other plans today, so I'm going to do some swatching for this and see how I get on with it. If I go down the John Arbon route or down the sort of Shetland or British wool route, 4-ply, I have a plan, I have an idea, because I've got lots and lots of bits of sort of painting by numbers type colours left over. And I'm wondering about trying to do a gradient within the colour work. Yeah, I think it might look really nice, but I don't know if I'm just making life too difficult for myself. What I might do, I don't know. I need to pull out my stash and have a look and see what I've got and see what is talking to me, what is speaking to me and what's not earmarked for another project. To be honest, even if something is earmarked for another project, I think I would probably pull it out to use on this anyway, because it's such a nice pattern. What do you think? What would you do with this? 4-ply, intricate colour work. Ideas on a postcard. Yeah, but I do need to cast this on because of the deadline, so I do need to get on with that. So yeah, the pattern looks really nicely laid out. At the moment, I think they're testing it in English and in German, and I imagine it will have a reasonably quick turnaround. It looks like a relatively easy pattern to follow. I've never knit one of her patterns before, but I have done quite a lot of colour work now, especially, in fact I've done several test knit colour work projects as well, so I've got a bit to compare it to, which is nice. So there we go, that is what I'm currently working on. I don't think I've missed anything. On that note, let's go to acquisitions. Okay, so I haven't really bought very much. I went to my knit night, which is in my local yarn shop, Die Geschenkwerkstatt, with there's just such a gorgeous, lovely group of women. They're so lovely. I really enjoy going to knit night there. Unfortunately, I can't go every week for various reasons, but when I do go, it's always really nice. But anyway, we were talking about summer knitting and I was showing the Costa Tank test knit that I'm doing. So we started talking about summer yarns, and Iris, the shop owner, went and got that. She plonked that down in front of me. This is a BC yarn, lino, and it is 100% linen. And it's 150 meters per 50 grams. And she popped that down in front of me as an example of some linen that she had in stock. And it's more purpley in real life. And I just fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. Maybe you can see the colour a bit better there. And she said, oh, I've only got 6 skeins of it left. Do you want to take it home with you? Obviously pay for it. Do you want to take it home with you? And then she just left it sitting in front of me on the table. She's such an enabler. And I couldn't resist. So this came home with me. It's really, really lovely. It's a really gorgeous colour. It clashes horribly with this. There we go, have to make another no frills cardigan from Petite Knit. It's gonna have to be done to go with this. So I'm gonna have another bash. Oh, this is horribly folded. at making the home camisole by Cairdry. Now, I attempted to knit this quite a few years ago before I kind of, do you remember what I was saying earlier about the armhole depth, that kind of thing? I tried to knit this before I had an understanding of how construction works and all that kind of thing. I ended up with something that, I mean, I'm not a small person. You could have fit two of me in what I made. So I frogged that, and then I just self-drafted a raglan t-shirt with the yarn. I can't even remember what it was now. It was something slubby. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so I self-drafted myself a raglan t-shirt instead with the same yarn. So I'm gonna have another bash at this. This is the home camisole, like I said, from Cairdry. It's a very similar construction to the tank top I've just finished, but it's just a V-neck with, yeah. So I'm gonna make some modifications as I did to the other one. Make this a bit shorter. Remember that I'm not as big around as I think I am, so I don't need to go up a size, I need to go down a size, and also to properly gauge swatch. Oh, the sins of the new knitter. Oh no, they're not really sins, are they? They're just rookie mistakes. I'm so bad at doing gauge swatches though. If it's a test knit, I'll gauge swatch, always gauge swatch, unless it's something yarn I've used many times before. But if it's just something I'm knitting for myself, I am so lazy. I'll just start knitting it. That is the gauge swatch, isn't it? Oh dear, dear, dear. Anyway, so yes, that is going to happen at some point, but I've got a few things that I need to do that have higher priority at the moment. So yeah, that is that. And I think that's pretty much all the sort of knitty content. I'm going to briefly talk about spinning. So I mentioned in my last episode that I had the offer of borrowing a spinning wheel, and that was actually from Iris as well at my local yarn shop. She has a couple of spinning wheels and she has very kindly offered to lend me one of them so I can try it out and see how I get on with it. And it's an Ashford Kiwi 2. So I'll be going there next Thursday for a bit of a skill exchange. So I was talking about doing English paper piecing, and a couple of the women in my in the knitting group I go to said that they'd never done it before and they'd really like to give it a go. So I said, well, let's do a workshop. You know, I can teach. Let's see if I can do it in German. So we're going to do a little tiny workshop with just a couple of people to begin with. But the skill exchange part comes in with one of the women at that workshop has offered to teach me to spin. The lovely Svenja has offered to teach me to spin, which is just unbelievably generous. I didn't really know how to respond when the offer came, both from Iris to borrow the spinning wheel and from Svenja to teach me to spin. I was quite overwhelmed with how kind and generous they both were with their time and their things. So it's the least I can do to teach them how to do a bit of English paper piecing. I have thought of a small project that we can do using hexagons. My partner builds and plays with 3D printers in his spare time, so he's printed me some geometrically accurate hexagons that we can use as templates. And the aim is we're going to make a little block of English paper pieced hexagons that then we can use as the front side of a cushion, or we can make a little quilt sandwich to make it into a little pouch or a little rolled up carrying case for bits and bobs or jewellery or whatever. So yeah, watch this space, we'll see how we get on. But yes, that's what I will be doing next Thursday. So we're going to Amsterdam for 3 days from Monday to Wednesday, then coming back. It's a bank holiday on the Thursday. So technically the yarn shop I go to on the Thursday is closed, but me and a couple of the participants will be doing a little sneaky workshop. Oh, sorry, I just kicked the camera. We're doing a little sneaky workshop at the back of the shop, even though it's closed, in English paper piecing. And then I think I'll be bringing home spinning wheel with me, which is, I'm really excited, but I know it's going to be a very steep learning curve. But that's fine, that's okay. So yeah, next Thursday, we will have had a very busy week. Probably will have bought yarn I don't need from various yarn shops in Amsterdam. I'll probably do a bit of footage as well. So I'll show you in the next episode what I got up to in Amsterdam. And then I'm doing a little English paper piecing workshop. Not getting paid for it or anything, it's just a bit of fun. Next Thursday, with some women from my local yarn shop. But also this weekend, my brother and his wife are in Brussels again for the weekend for her work. So I'm going to go and meet up with my brother in Brussels on Saturday. I bought from a really, really nice little yarn shop in Brussels last time I was there, a gorgeous alpaca linen mix yarn in a pale pink colour. Hey, that would be nice for that test knit. That would work well. I'll go and have a look at that, because if we're going there again, no, I don't need any more yarn. I don't need any more yarn. Use the yarn I've got. Focus. Anyway, so that is that is it for today. My intention for this test knit is to use yarn that I've already got, because I do have stuff in stash. Don't buy any more yarn. Not today anyway. Yes, so the next time you see me, I will have been to Brussels for the day again, and I will have been to Amsterdam for a few days, and hopefully I can take you around one or two of the yarn shops there if you're interested. But as always, there'll always be lots of knitty content if you're not interested in travelling about the place, doing this and that. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. It's been lovely to chat with you. Let me know what you're knitting on down in the comments. Let me know what you think about my yarn gabble for the Eleanor Mortensen test knit, because I haven't got the ideas straight in my head yet in order to share them properly. And yes, I will speak to you in a few weeks. Stay healthy, stay happy, and happy knitting.